Welcome back to the next episode of the Scoreboard podcast. I got Smokey in the house once again. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you, Alex?
I'm looking forward to this first topic in particular because I know there's one name on both of our lists that we're going to get hung up on again, and we did last week, and you know who it is, and I know who it is.
Yes,
but I'm curious if you actually went where I thought that you were probably going to end up going. So we're going to be ranking quarterbacks, all the NFL starting quarterbacks in tiers. So I divided this up into 5 tiers. You got the elites, you got the solid franchise quarterback, you got quality starter, you got average, and you got below average.
Yes.
So, you want me to start off?
Yeah, go ahead and read out your first tier, and then I'll give you mine.
Starting with the elite category. I'm not a guy who puts 10 to 12 people in the elite category because I think that just devalues the meaning of the term elite. We got Aaron Rodgers, we got Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. 5 people, that's it. I try to limit the elite category to 5 people every single year. And mind you, I'm going to make this disclaimer right off the bat. This is for this season, the 2019-2020 NFL season. We're not talking about players that I would choose to start a franchise. We're talking about the best quarterbacks right now in the upcoming season.
You're not going to believe this, but I have the exact same elite category. I have 5 players, and I put them in a little different order. I got Aaron Rodgers, Andrew Luck, Patrick Mahomes, and then I was kind of struggling, and Russell Wilson almost dropped into the second tier for me, but I went ahead and threw him in there, and he's kind of tied with Drew Brees for that last spot.
All right. Now I don't consider the order within tiers for this one, right?
Okay.
So I just put them in those 5 categories. If you want to, at some point later, in a few weeks or so, we can rank them 1 through 32, but that's a little bit more work. But I just didn't consider the order within the tiers. That's just my top 5. Even though I would agree that Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Andrew Luck, likely the top 3 in fantasy, probably as well as the regular game. No, Matty Ice, what's up? What happened there?
Well, I mean, it was a struggle, but he dropped into the second tier because, I mean, it was really, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, and Russell Wilson right there at the bottleneck, and I'm like, yeah, well, for the year after year performances, and I know this is just for this season, and it pains me, man. It tastes like crap when I say it, but Drew Brees is a tick higher.
Tick higher?
Yeah.
Barely. You sure it's not like 5 or 6 ticks?
Because, I mean, it comes down to a game management situation. Like, when the big game's on the line, you almost have to put Drew Brees a little over. I'm not saying that he's going to outperform Matt Ryan this season, but
that's what I'm saying.
If it comes down to fourth quarter and everybody's falling out on their feet, you might have, and it hurts to say it, but you might have to go with Drew Brees there.
See, you tweeted at me, like, before we started this, you tweeted at me a provocative picture saying that Matt Ryan is elite, changed my mind. And before I even said anything, your mind apparently has changed. Because right now you're not putting him into the elite category.
Well, like I've always said, like, when I think of elite, it's a elite 1A and 1B. Like, okay. my next category, any of these guys could take a simple step to be elite, And Matt Ryan, like I said last week, he's kind of at the, he's in that 1B category, and so I had to throw him into the second category for this situation.
All right. So you call it 1B,
yes.
I call it number 2, or in this case, the franchise quarterback that's kind of on the verge of the elite, but not quite the very cream of the crop. I'm gonna go ahead. Carson Wentz, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, there you go, and Ben Roethlisberger.
All right, I have a few more in this category, but I have Cam Newton, Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, and Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Now, Deshaun Watson, I could definitely see being in that category. For me, it was a bit of a coin flip almost, but I'm trying to keep the top end categories kind of low because the point is that, like, the second to last category is average. So if 20 people came above that category, then it wouldn't be average anymore. So that wouldn't make much sense. So I'm trying to keep as little people as possible in those categories to maintain the value of the meaning of those. But yeah, I mean it's definitely acceptable to put Deshaun there. I can see it. To me, Ben is also kind of on the verge of potentially dropping down. We'll have to see for one season. Going into it, I'll still put him there, but that might change over at the course of the season. And next year we're going to be looking at a whole new list. So there's a bunch of people in the third category that might also make it up. But so far, this is how I kind of decided to do it. Carson Wentz could also easily be in the elite. Had it not been for 2 injuries, 2 years, he should be. I believe he will be if he stays healthy. Make it to that category, which is where he belongs.
I agree fully with that. I really do believe in Carson Wentz. I mean, he showed out in his rookie season, and then he went beast mode in his second season. Then he had the injury at the end of the season because he wanted to be more of a running quarterback than I think Doug Peterson maybe wanted him to be. But it is what it is. Carson Wentz can easily be elite this season.
Now, another one, because I know we're going to hear this from someone, somewhere. We both don't have Tom Brady in the elite category.
No.
I've been saying this for way too long, but I'm going to do it again. Tom Brady, as an individual, has never in his career been the best quarterback in the NFL at any given point, because you had Peyton in the beginning, now and then you had Aaron Rodgers for a while. At this point you have several people. They won the Super Bowl. Obviously they did. They're still a great team, and Brady's still a great quarterback. He is neither at the top of his game, nor is he at the top of the NFL, nor was he ever there. A lot of the success taints that, and I'm convinced of that to such a degree that I will even admit that I don't think Joe Montana was necessarily the greatest quarterback individually during his time. I believe Dan Marino was a more talented passer, more talented quarterback individually. Now, of course, the success similar to the Brady Rodgers situation reflects something different, but we have to look at this objectively in terms of individual talent, and Tom Brady to me is not in that category.
I agree. I've always seen Tom Brady as a product of Bill Belichick, more so than just the greatest of all time. I mean, if you want to go by rings, he's the greatest of all time. You know, if you're going by rings too, or Super Bowl appearances, you know, you have to put Joe Montana up there as well. But I agree. I mean, he's never been the elite quarterback of the NFL.
Well, if you go by rings, then Charles Haley is the best defender of all time. So,
yeah, there you go.
I mean, as great as he was, I think a couple of defensive linemen are already and were better than him. So I don't think that's necessarily the best indicator to go off of. Of course, the quarterbacks, it always matters more and all that. I get that, but we're looking at next season individual best quarterback, and he's not a top 5 guy.
If you were going by rings, we have to put Joe Flacco up there and Trent Dilfer, you know, and we can't do that. So the ring argument has never been in my.
Put Joe Flacco up there. Doesn't he have like one?
Yes, he does, but that's just it. I mean, I'm not saying you have to put him in elite, but if you wanted to use the ring argument, then that would make Joe Flacco better than most of these quarterbacks. But
Dan Marino, for example.
Yeah, exactly, and that's just not the case.
No, that's not the case. That's correct. So, moving on, I guess, to the third category, the quality starter, but not quite top end guys. Cam Newton, Jimmy Garoppolo, Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold.
All right, and of course I've put a few more in there than you have, but I got Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Jimmy Garoppolo, Matt Stafford, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Those last two I know are going to be a point of debate, but I'm
going to debate 2 names there, and it's not the ones that you think.
Okay.
I'm going to debate Lamar Jackson for sure, but I'm going to debate Dak Prescott, man.
Yes, I knew you would.
Man, listen, I'm just not buying the guy. I got to see more, and I still think that it's possible, but right now I have no reason to assume that people don't overrate him consistently because of the team that he is on and how strong of a team that the Dallas Cowboys are around him with the running game, and even to a greater degree have been over the past couple of years, and also their fantastic defense. So I'm not buying Dak as an individual quarterback. I think he's a product of the system more than he's an individual superstar. I'm happy for him to prove me wrong because he does have promising talent. Now, I was not as high on Lamar Jackson as a lot of people are. He was my 5th quarterback in that class. Actually, it was pretty close to him being my 6th quarterback in that class. And obviously, he was selected to the Ravens. I don't think he's on the same level as the other 4 guys. I still like Josh Rosen, basically to a higher degree than him. And we're gonna see that on my list too. Whether that happens to become the truth or not, I like Josh Rosen better as a technically clean pocket passing quarterback. 6'3" guy, great vision. The whole character trait of a true professional, and really refined in his throwing motion.
I don't think you're gonna like where I put Josh Rosen, but we'll get to that. But
we'll
Sam
see.
Darnold,
So that's
Sam Darnold is, I was debating that as well. Sam Darnold, coming out of college, man, he was excellent. He probably was the top-rated quarterback in that draft. And I do think he's going to pull through for this season, and I think I would definitely take him over everyone I have in the 4th tier.
Oh, for sure. Now, one name that actually I've seen a lot of people step up one higher already is Baker Mayfield, which I think might be just a snippet too soon to pull the trigger on. I get that the Browns are great. I get that he has the best weapons in the league and a great offensive line and a great defense. He's in a great situation. I get that he's got fantastic support. But it's his 2nd year.
Yes.
So the learning curve is very much still on, and I don't like, unless it's like a Patrick Mahomes sort of season, I don't like bumping those 2nd year guys up all the way to the top right away. So he's in that quality starter position right now, which is better than I had reasonable good reasons to believe that he would be coming out of college with all the character concerns. So that's still a very much positive outcome, obviously with much potential there, with a fantastic organization, which still sounds weird to say, but it's true. And similar things go for Sam Darnold. I think Jets have improved in certain areas with Le'Veon Bell, one of the better running backs in the league, and one of the wide receivers, which we're going to be talking about in topic number 2, not to say too much right now, but that's my 3rd category. So let's get into the average category, which is the 4th out of 5. Dak Prescott, Mitch Trubisky, Josh Allen, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Nick Foles, Derek Carr, Josh Rosen, Case Keenum, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
All right, I have Mitchell Trubisky, Joe Flacco, which you don't agree with, obviously, but no. Nick Foles, Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, and Marcus Mariota.
So, I just quickly to know this is for teams where I'm not sure where what the starting quarterback is going to end up being, I just put 2 people. I put Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen. You obviously notice that. I'm also going to have Dwayne Haskins, which in what category he's going to be, even though I had Case Keenum on average. So the thing for me is, though, you have like 20 people in categories above the average category, making the average no longer the average.
Not necessarily, because I left out rookies as well.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like it's kind of a bit of an inflation going on there.
Yeah,
on your list. I'm trying to keep it.
I went with the assumed starters for one, and I left the rookies off of the list. I mean,
we left all rookies off?
Yeah, I didn't put any rookies in there.
So you don't have anyone for the Cardinals at all?
No, I didn't, because we're assuming that Kyler's going to be the starter, but he's still a rookie, and who knows?
He's the first overall pick.
Yeah,
he better start.
Well, you would.
They traded Josh Rosen.
But
they traded Josh Rosen for him. He better start.
Did any of the rookies start last season?
Well, one rookie came in with no quarterback in the house.
Rosen, right?
Rosen came into the Cardinals. He also didn't start.
Oh, he didn't
right
start.
From the beginning.
What was it? Drew.
He didn't start right from the beginning, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But they all threw him in like halfway through the season, which is usually the case for most rookie quarterbacks. But the Cardinals really don't have that type of luxury. I feel like I think there's not a lot of time for Kyler to like get into the whole thing. He seems to pretty much be the guy. I mean, they sold out for him, so he better start and he better be great. So let's wrap it up. Below average category, I got Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, Andy Dalton, and Eli Manning.
Well, I have Andy Dalton, Josh Rosen, Case Keenum, and Eli Manning.
Case Keenum seems harsh.
You don't. Well, he had one good season though with the Vikings.
Yeah, but he's a veteran. I think. I honestly, I'd rather have him than starting for me next season, even if it's a transition year, than a couple of other people there.
So let me go through this then. Would you rather have Case Keenum over Derek Carr?
No.
Jameis Winston.
See, now it depends on the situation that my franchise is in. Almost, if I'm looking to, I'm not sticking with the guy either way. Most likely for an extended period of time, and I'm just looking to get the season done and over with. I'd pick Case Keenum.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Marcus Mariota.
I'll probably take Mariota because I still have hopes for the guy.
All right, and the last two, I'm doubting you would take him over Mitchell Trubisky, but Nick Foles, kind of in the same situation as Case Keenum, right?
Yeah, if I paid that kind of money for Nick Foles, I can't really kick him out. So, yeah, I'm not super convinced by either of them ending up being quality starters ever. I think Nick Foles has been in that exact same situation before. So. I'm not sure. I really, it's a coin flip for me there. I take Trubisky for sure, though. Trubisky, to me, has one of the greater potentials for all the players that are still in that average category.
All right. And the last one, Joe Flacco.
Oh, I'll take Case Keenum.
Really?
Yeah, I'll take Case Keenum. I think he's flat out just a better player at this point.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any faith in Joe Flacco at all, but... Still,
no, I was about to put Drew Lock on this list too, because I wouldn't be surprised at all if he started at some point this season. And I think he'll do better than Flacco reasonably soon.
Yeah, I definitely think he's gonna eventually get the starting job at some point during the season. But I think Joe Flacco at least starts 4 or 5 games.
Probably. They have the luxury to sit Lock an entire year, but they know this is not going to be a competitive year also.
And obviously, they thought Joe Flacco was better than Case Keenum.
Well, yeah, apparently. So let's get into topic number 2, because I've already hinted at one name at least. A couple of weeks back, we talked about breakout candidates at the running back position, and today we're looking at wide receivers. And I know you are very interested in those types of topics, so give me your first name or your first couple of names on who you believe in making their mark on the NFL in the upcoming season.
All right. Well, do you want to go from the top down?
Sure.
All right. Well, my first one is Mike Williams. Now, I know he's behind Keenan Allen, but the kid showed out last year. It's his 3rd year in the league. 43 receiving, 43 receptions, 664 yards. Not bad as a WR2. He had 10 touchdowns last season. So I don't see any reason why he can't take a step forward and end up over Keenan Allen by the end of the season.
Listen, veteran quarterback presence. You got wide receiver 1, who's a potentially top 7 guy in the league. That's going to draw safety help and double coverages. Mike Williams is in a perfect situation. I also have him on this list. I think there's a great pick, and I think we're going to be hearing his name called a lot during the season. Let me present to you this name, though. I've already hinted at him. I'm pretty sure you know who it is. Robbie Anderson for the New York Jets.
That was my number 2, as a matter of fact.
That was your next? All right.
50 receptions, 752 yards last season. 15 yards per target with 6 touchdowns. He has an improving quarterback situation. He has Jamison Crowder and Quincy Enunwa, which I don't see either one of those giving him a run for the money. I think his 4th year in the league, he was an undrafted free agent, but he has proven to be worthy, and I think he's primed for a breakout season.
Listen, Sam Darnold can only get better and is expected to get exponentially better. And with Le'Veon Bell, you bring in a potentially top 3 guy. If he comes in motivated and running, he might be the key factor for that offense being able to consistently get people to stack that 8th person in the box. And if that happens and you give Robbie Anderson one-on-ones all day, all year, he's going to have a breakout season for sure on the perimeter.
Agree. you want to go to number 3 or you want me to go to number 3?
You go to number 3 because I want to see if we got the same person again.
All right. I don't know if you do. Very explosive talent here, DJ Moore. And this all depends on Cam Newton's health for the season. Definitely. But 53 receptions last year, 788 yards, 14.3 yards per target with only 2 touchdowns. But as we know, first-year wide receivers don't usually come on till the end of the season anyway. But if Cam Newton is in good health this season, his shoulder's back to where it needs to be, I don't see any reason DJ Moore can't break out this season.
Well, Lord knows that the Panthers, ever since Steve Smith, have needed some consistent receiving help. I think there's a good possibility that he's going to end up being the featured guy in that passing offense. So I like that pick. Now, my third guy on the list, and I've only written down 3 people, and you can call me a homer all you want, but I believe in this guy, and it's Dante Pettis. Because I know that Kyle Shanahan loves this guy. I know that he's the perfect fit for the offensive system, which I'm decently acquainted with. And I've seen him show some flashes last season. I think a full off season, hopefully a working offense, a strong running game, and a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo. He might end up being the number 1 by the end of the next season. I think he has that type of high-end potential. Now, he's not the tallest guy, but his route running is crisp. And he has the moxie, the determination to beat people in the slot. But I think he can compete on the outside as well. And I'm curious to see how that works out, especially since the 49ers don't necessarily have the greatest selection of big 6'3" perimeter Julio Jones type receivers. So people are going to be hopefully running crazy in that horizontal back and forth offense, and I think with the right play calling, this guy can be schemed open a lot, and he's going to make plays for you along with George Kittle and the top speed of Marquise Goodwin.
Exactly. I only left Dante Pettis off the list because I knew that was going to be one of yours.
Yeah.
So just for variance sake, I'll throw a couple of extra names at you. I'm going to leave off Calvin Ridley, which I feel has already broken out. And I don't think he's getting the number 1 slot anytime soon, but he had a great season, so I didn't put him on the list. There's always the perennials, the hype train's rolling every offseason for these guys like Devontae Parker and D.D. Westbrook, but until further notice, we can't throw them in the breakout category. But there's 2 more. One would be Chris Godwin of the Bucks. And he very similar to Mike Williams. He could have the chance to take over that number 1 this season. Let's see, he had 7 TDs last year, which was great for a rookie wide receiver as a WR2. 800
on a bad team.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and alternating quarterbacks at that. And the only other one is a very long shot, but this team is a dumpster fire. But there is a decent quarterback there. I'm talking about the Bills, and I'm talking about Robert Foster, who was also an undrafted free agent. But
I don't know. I don't know that the Bills are as bad as you think that they might be. I don't think they're there yet, but I think the Bills are definitely on the way up.
Well, they definitely, they have something to prove this year, and I do believe in Josh Allen, as I put him in my third category.
I also don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year or anything, but we'll see. And I like the Foster pick too, so I only have my 3 people, and but I also like the other picks. I think after the season and halfway through, we'll kind of be reviewing, looking back at what our predictions were and to what degrees they've come true. And I'm expecting to hear a couple of those names again in the future with you talking about your fantasy football stocks, and draft grades and so on and so on. So I know you're pretty invested in that sort of stuff. But let's quickly, before we get into that, to close out the show, swing over to another sport. Now we got the NBA free agency going on, and last week it happened at the worst possible moment for us because we uploaded our Scoreboard podcast, and like 3 microseconds later I look on Reddit and it's like Russell Westbrook has just joined the Houston Rockets. I'm like, why? But also this is fantastic. So it's old news at this point almost, but it's still somewhat crazy, so I think we still have to talk about it. We were talking about, we're running into the ground the Western Conference in last week's show. We're going on and on and on about the Warriors, Clippers, Lakers. How about the Rockets?
Well, I think this comes down to how well is he going to get along with James Harden. I know they've been teammates in the past, and there's another question this brings up. Do you feel that Russell Westbrook, as a team player, better than Chris Paul?
I don't think anyone is worse as a team player than Russell Westbrook.
I agree. So it almost feels like a step backwards to me. Like if it was 1-on-1, I would take Westbrook.
Has anyone ever gotten along with Russell Westbrook real good?
No, I mean, can you even say
has
that James
anyone ever
Harden
gotten
did?
along with James? Yeah, with James Harden really good?
Yes. So how is that going to work out for the Rockets?
Well, both of those guys are known to be individualists at heart.
Mm-hmm.
We know both those guys are better at one-on-one than they are at team basketball. That is just the truth. They're both interested in own personal stats, and I would allege that they are both interested in that over team success. Especially Russell Westbrook, he's notorious for it, but I think James Harden to a degree has that in him as well. I am not sure how this is going to turn out. I don't think this can be productive. Now, bear in mind, there might always be the crazy double negative thing going on. It might just be the case that they work incredibly together and they're like the U.S. Olympic team dunking on everybody. Vince Carter jumping over people, making crazy stuff happen. I don't know. But as a like from an executive standpoint, this seems like a total shot in the dark. This seems crazy. I think the Houston Rockets are going to be a circus team. I think I mentioned this to you. They might as well be the Harlem Globetrotters next year. They're going to be fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but successful against teams like the Lakers, Warriors, and Clippers, who are building to win games and win championships and constructing their roster depth chart with that in mind. Man, I like it as entertainment, but I don't have the greatest outlook for the mess in terms of championships.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it feels like a step backwards to me. I know that Harden and Chris Paul didn't get along in the first place, but I don't see how he's going to get along any better with Westbrook.
Yeah.
Maybe even worse. You could see Chris Harden is standing on the corner and waiting for a pass. Well, you're not going to see that with Westbrook. He wants the ball.
Yeah.
And James Harden wants the ball. So,
they're going to be stripping the ball from each other on offense.
Yeah, you would think so.
That's not going to be a good thing. That is what's going to happen. They're going to be competing among each other for points.
So, what does this mean for OKC?
Oh boy!
Still a dumpster
Don't get
fire.
me started on the Thunder, man. It's getting worse and worse. Now, of course, I don't think Russell Westbrook was ever the guy that's going to bring you athletic success.
Even though he promised that multiple times.
Oh yeah, but I think the hopes left town with Kevin Durant. But
yeah,
I mean, it's a full rebuild, man. You take a couple of years of time and you revolutionize everything and you start over. That's the only thing you can do right now. Everyone's gone.
Yep. Yeah, I see a dumpster fire that is still blazing and a dumpster fire in the making.
Yeah, so I think personally the Rockets pulled the trigger there prematurely or just incorrectly, basically, seeing everyone in the West load up, the California teams looking unstoppable, and kind of panicking, and seeing that championship window closing, and they made this move, which I don't think is a sound decision, but we'll see how it's going to end up turning out. I think the Rockets are still probably going to make the playoffs, and they're probably going to put on a show, but they lost pretty handily this year to a very diminished Warriors team, which tells me that they were a lot worse already than they were last year, and I don't really see this going in the right direction.
I don't either, man. I think we can hold the status quo for the West right now.
So can we do like a weekly finals prediction thing from now on? Whenever news comes in, what's your finals matchup for next year?
Well, the East, man, I haven't looked into it that much. The East it's up in the air. I mean, I first said Toronto, of course, but without Kawhi,
yeah,
I don't see
Toronto.
Yeah, I don't see Toronto going back. Of course, I still think it's a bottleneck between the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Clippers, but with the Clippers being the lowest. I think I said the Warriors the lowest last week, but on further contemplation, I'm going to put the Warriors above the Clippers. So I think it comes down to the Lakers. I mean, yeah, the Lakers and the Warriors. And the East, who do you see winning the East? Just give me your opinion.
I mean, a safe pick is Milwaukee for sure. It's not a flashy pick, but why not? Listen, the whole Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving thing is getting started year one. Kevin Durant's going to be hurt for most of it.
Yeah, I can't see the Celtics.
I don't think that's going to end up in success very soon. So why not the Bucks? In my opinion, they were the best team in the East this year. Somehow managed to blow a 2-0 lead to Toronto, who went on to win the championship. So yeah, I got the Bucks. I got Giannis. Even though I don't see him as individually as fantastic as a lot of people do. Now he's great. He's top 10 player for sure. I don't think he's a perennial MVP kind of guy. He had a great season, but the team is stacked to the teeth. So that seems like a reasonable pick to me.
Yeah, and I said I can't see the Celtics. I meant the Nets when I said that, but I can't see the Celtics either. I can't see the Nets going for it, especially with Durant being out. So I guess right now I'm going with the Bucks and the Lakers.
All right, I'm also gonna go with the Bucks and the Lakers this week, but maybe next week I'm feeling different. We'll see. Maybe the Kawhi Leonard thing hit me again. Maybe it's LeBron's 50 years old. Maybe the Clippers. Maybe not. Maybe I'm a homer again. And I pick the Warriors. We'll see. But
yeah,
the Bucks seem to be one of the big winners to me of this off season so far. You've seen the Raptors knock themselves out. You've seen the Celtics knock themselves out.
And we would have thought the Pelicans knocked themselves out, although they drafted well.
Yeah, the Pelicans are a team of the future for sure. I don't think they're going to compete with the Bucks this year or maybe next, but listen, Zion has been looking pretty cool during summer league, and they have a lot of young talent on that team. But it's not going to be a 2019 campaign. It's going to be built for the future, and the Bucks need to capitalize on that because they are right now the most stacked team in that conference by far. Now, can they compete with the West? I think there's 3 teams in the West that I could reasonably still lose to, which is of course all the California teams. But I mean, the East should be pretty open for them.
I agree.
All right, so let's wrap that up. I think we'll pretty much talk about something similar next week as well, or in the next show, and we can make that a thing. Every week we call our finals prediction depending on the news that turned out. So
yes,
I'm kind of curious to see that because it's really a neck and neck race. But let's get into your topic number 4. You got some fantasy football news for us.
I do.
Which becoming more and more relevant these days as we are getting closer to the NFL season.
It is my favorite time of the year. I love it. I have an affinity for fantasy football that you wouldn't believe. But let's get into some quick notes of the week here. There's a big one. Let me just go through a quick smaller notes. Like this came out this week. Alex Collins broke his leg, and he's not even on the team, so I don't know why anybody cares, but that made fantasy news this week. There is a report of Fitzgerald and Kyler Murray actually building chemistry, so people are all on the hype train for that. Until further notice, I can't make a call on that. Definitely not drafting Kyler Murray anywhere near the top of the quarterbacks, even though a lot of people are. You know, he's making his way, and he's well into the top 10 at this point, but I can't see it until he proves it. But
that seems insane to me.
A couple of the big notes this week. Chris Herndon, tight end for the Jets. Actually, it was reported a while back that they were looking at a 2-game ban for his DUI and breaking the substance abuse policy. But he actually received a 4-game ban this week. Now, if you're drafting in best ball, that's not going to matter too much because you're looking at high end, you're looking at his boom games, and you'll be safe with your other tight ends that you draft until he comes back, which Chris Herndon is one of my favorite tight ends for this season. Kind of hurts if you're going with redraft because most people like to draft one tight end, and you probably don't want to pick up Herndon, get him off the waiver wire, unless you're in an extremely amateur league and somebody drafts him out from under you, but then there's other viable options. So Chris Herndon, yeah, in best ball, keep getting him, and redraft, don't worry about him for right now. And some big news. There's a couple holdouts being planned right now.
Yeah.
And one of them probably is not that big of a deal. That would be Ezekiel Elliott, who told someone in a private location, and it's made its way to the public, that he was planning a holdout. And he is not through with his rookie contract yet. He's not even in the 5th-year option, so I don't know where that's going. Do you see Elliott getting a new contract? I can't say I do at this point.
See, what are you gonna do if you're Dallas Cowboys, right? It's a tough situation for a franchise. I know that you're not supposed to give him a new contract right now. You're on your rookie year. Mm-hmm. Has he outperformed his rookie deal? Of course, he's outperformed basically any deal you could give him.
Yeah.
But there's a certain set of rules that NFL players are playing by, and in this situation, compared to Le'Veon Bell, I certainly have a bit of less understanding for Ezekiel Elliott, considering he's in a whole different situation in terms of how he's being treated by staff, by the franchise.
Mm-hmm. Jerry Jones' favorite son at this point.
People, yeah, they don't run him into the ground like the Steelers did Bell. They have a better atmosphere around the team. I think Ezekiel Elliott should, and I think end up will play.
Yes, I agree. I don't see this going too far. I think they may rework his contract so he gets an extra bonus or two, or some kind of incentive that they add for this season. I think he'll show
Incentives
up.
are a good idea for those types of holdouts, because you're essentially saying I'm worth more than you're paying me. So I'm saying, okay, then show me and I'll pay you more.
Exactly. And I see him showing up. They're going to work something out. Jerry Jones is usually on top of these things.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be there for training camp, so I wouldn't worry too much. I have him number 1 over Saquon Barkley at this point. So keep drafting Ezekiel Elliott. Don't worry about it at this point. If it becomes more serious, we'll let you know. But as of right now, don't worry about it. But there is one that we need to worry about, and this would be Melvin Gordon, who is it's every kind of situation you can think of is being thrown out at this point. Are they going to pay him? Or are they going to trade him? Do they really even need Melvin Gordon? They have Austin Eckler back there. I believe in Melvin Gordon. I really like Melvin Gordon. But he wants a ton more money than what he's getting. He saw Todd Gurley get that contract. So he saw Devontae Freeman get his contract. He wants the big contract. And I don't know, judging on the Chargers' past, they've always been a use and replace for running backs. So there is a high possibility that either he gets traded before the season starts, or he's holding out a few games. Now, in the past, you would have said, no, nobody's going to hold out, especially at the running backs position. But now we saw the precedent set with Le'Veon Bell last year, and Melvin Gordon was vocal about supporting Le'Veon Bell in that decision. So that is definitely one we have to watch out for. And as of right now, I'm dropping him down my rankings in the running back category. And overall, of course, I don't see him as a first rounder right now. What do you think?
See, I think from a real NFL standpoint, again, if you're the Chargers, the key question is, how are you looking at your Super Bowl window? How are you looking at your championship window right now, this year, next year? If you think we're still on it to win it all with Phillip Rivers in the next 2 years, you got to keep Melvin Gordon around. It's too much of a downgrade to trade him away. Mm-hmm. I think Austin Eckler is a decent dude. He's an average starter in the NFL. He can play running back. But Melvin Gordon is a top 5 guy if he really gets going. And yes, you're right. He came out with Todd Gurley.
Yes,
he was on the same level as Todd Gurley out of college, throughout the entire draft process, and he's sitting there thinking, I'm the safer player.
Yeah.
Compared to Todd Gurley, who's been hurt for 5 years.
Yes.
With his knee. So how am I not getting paid that same amount of money? I should be getting at least the same amount of money as Todd Gurley is getting. considering my contributions to the Chargers offense over the last couple of years. So I can understand the point that he's coming from. The decision is definitely with the organization. Where do you see yourself? If you think you are winning right now, you can't trade one of your best players away. If you think you're not, you are, you can do that, but that decision has to be with the front office in LA.
Yes, I agree, man. If I were the Chargers, which they've been a cheap organization, and not saying that in a derogatory way, they're not known for just handing out gigantic contracts like some of the other teams are. But in this situation, do you really believe in Austin Eckler that much to where you can let him walk if need be, or let him hold out, or trade him in worst case scenario? And I mean, I don't know who would even be the trade candidates for you at this point. I mean, we're late into the summer at this point, and
who looks for a star running back come August? Not many people.
No, not at all. So tough situation. And as we all found out, this is the same reason I did not draft Le'Veon Bell last season. I know a lot of people did. He went in the first round. But I held out on him because it's a scary situation when you're up in the first round and you're looking at, these running backs are flying off the board. This guy has been great, phenomenal. I need that guy, but it's too iffy at the moment. So till further notice, hold Melvin Gordon. If you see him falling to the third or fourth round, it might be worth it to take a shot on him. But as of right now, just hold still and see what the news happens to be.
Well, I know I'm gonna listen to you on fantasy football drafting this year, because I was the guy to draft Le'Veon Bell last year in the first round, in one draft at least, and I was the guy to take Adrian Peterson 3 years ago with the first pick and have him get hurt, suspended.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be following Smokey's draft board this year for sure. So got to get that ready for at the end of August is typically when my leagues tend to draft. But yeah, thank you for that contribution. If the people watching out there, the listeners, want more of that, by the way, any interests in fantasy football, I think Smokey would be more than happy to cover that. I know this is your thing, probably even more so than normal sports. This is really your wheelhouse, and it's always pretty good to get some insight from a true fantasy expert there on the podcast. So I appreciate that. Thank you everyone for listening to the show. Have any suggestions for topics or specific things that you want us to cover, talk about in the future, please let us know. Feel free to do that in the comments of my video or Smokey's video. By the way, if you are a viewer of Beyond Football, go check out Smokey's content together with his buddy Hollywood. They have a pretty cool channel, a lot of talk show stuff, a lot of entertaining stuff. They have a podcast that we also occasionally collaborate on with each other. And they also produce some pretty good music. So if you're into that, some indie stuff, definitely worth checking out sometime. And if you're from the Trash Talkers channel and you're interested in sports, you're a sports guy, you're looking for more football content, come on over to Beyond Football, check out some of my content, and hopefully you appreciate what we are doing here. Now, that being said, Smokey, you got anything to add?
No, actually, you did that plug much better than I have done it, so I really appreciate that. Don't forget to check out Trash Can TV as well.
Yeah, that too. I've been doing plugs for a while, man. Over almost getting close to 700 videos now. So
yeah,
it's become second nature. So all right, we're gonna close it up. Thank you for showing up on the show, and hopefully we'll have another one next week.
Definitely.
Thank you everyone for watching, and drop a like on our video/videos. Hopefully, subscribe to our channels, and we are going to see you in the next one.
We will. See you next week. Deuces.